Hey everybody, I'm Michael Hall.
And I'm Robert Wolf, and you're watching Innovation Coffee brought to you by ARM, where the coffee's hot, but the innovation is hotter, or sometimes it's just a nice cold Red Bull. This is where we take a deep look at the ARM developer ecosystem and explore the many things going on in and around this exciting space. Each of these live streams will start off with some developer updates. Sometimes we'll take a recap at the last week's episode, followed by in-depth conversations about ARM and our growing developer ecosystem. Joined by featured ARM experts, partners, from within the ARM developer community, we will discuss a plethora of topics tailored for developers, showcase opportunities, explore resources, and bring new and exciting ARM developments to light. Each of these events will finish off with an audience Q&A. So, of course, if you have any questions, be sure to drop those in the YouTube chat, and we will address them as soon as we possibly can. Now, as a reminder, if you enjoy this broadcast, make sure you smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the ARM Software Developers YouTube channel, because we go live with live streams like this every single week, actually every other week now, right, Michael?
Every other week now.
Every other week. So every other Thursday at 5 p.m. UTC. But that doesn't mean that we're not posting a bunch of other really cool stuff throughout the week. Now we have this new weekly dose on ARM episodes from Gabriel Peterson, one of our other developer evangelists. We'll be releasing a new Did You Know series of YouTube shorts coming out very soon. And we have the new How Do I on ARM series that will be debuting sometime in the next month. So there are a lot of things happening. Not only that, we have other communities from within ARM, within the ARM company, who are, building out lots of other cool content. So, staying up to date with the ARM Software Developers YouTube channel is a great place to keep up to date on those things. One other thing I'd like to kind of start this off with is that if you're watching and you feel like continuing the conversation after this episode, you can join us on Discord. That's https://discord.gg/ARM software dev. It's a great place for you to talk with us evangelists. We have hundreds of ARM experts and thousands of developers from around the world here to talk to you about your ARM projects, share, show and tell, and get support from ARM here in this Discord server. I think that was probably one of the best intros I've ever done.
Yeah,
I'm on fire. So yeah. Okay, cool. So what do we got going on, Michael? Let's first go through a recap of last week's episode. I think that you got this on the spot.
Last week, actually, I was sitting on a beach, so
okay.
we're on an every other week schedule now, so we didn't have one last week. But the week before that, we had Bo Paisley from Linaro to come on to talk about the work and the tools that they're building for high-performance computing on ARM. So he shared some of the performance monitoring and profiling tools that they use, and how people are using that to optimize code that's running on some of these massive supercomputers that are out there, increasingly ARM-based supercomputers as well. So that was a really fascinating episode, a really deep dive into the kind of the intricacies of HPC and how that differs from what you might be used to with traditional computing, even cloud computing. It's an entirely different beast out there, and Linaro Forge is developing the tools to help you write better software for those platforms.
Yes, so, and that is LinaroForge.com right there. And I think, what was it? Bo was telling us that if you want to go experiment with this, you just reach out to them, right? So you can just go to LinaroForge.com and contact them for a demo.
That's it. And you can watch that episode on our YouTube channel that Robert was mentioning earlier. And be sure that you like and subscribe to our channel so that you get all of these updates and all of these future episodes that we're going to do.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, Michael, I think it's time to bring in our guest, and we are joined today by Dmitry Chuyko, who is a performance architect for a company called Bellsoft. And today we're going to learn about Bellsoft. We're going to talk about optimizing or Java in general on ARM, and we'll learn about some cool developer, I want to say, environments that you can use, or developer tricks that we can get familiar with when it comes to Java on ARM. So should we bring Dmitry in now, Mike? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, cool. Dmitry, hello. Welcome to Innovation Coffee. How are you? Just to let you know you're muted, just in case you didn't know.
Hello, doing great. Hi, Michael. Hi, Robert.
Hello. Welcome to Innovation Coffee. I love the shirt. By the way, I like that logo, Bellsoft logo, how you have the two forward slashes as the L's. Pretty cool. So, Dmitry, the way we like to start these episodes off is with a little bit of an origin story, right? Like Michael and I know each other. Our audience or viewers know who we are, but people might not know who you are. And so we'd like to get to know you. So if maybe you could start off by telling us, who are you? What do you do at Bellsoft? Or maybe a little history as to, where you went to school, whatever you'd like to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, currently, I'm one of those people who keep ARM OpenJDK port up to date with the latest hardware. So it's an evolving port of OpenJDK, and I work in a company that releases OpenJDK as a binary distribution, and we not just build those binaries, we support them. So we have support cases related to different platforms, and I think we have the most number of platforms for Liberica JDK by Bellsoft across all the distributions of JDK. That's what we do, and yeah, it all started all years ago in 2017 and even earlier. So I now work in OpenJDK development area for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So how did you get started, Dmitry? Did you go to school for software engineering, or is this something that you picked up on your own?
Well, it developed step by step. You start, learning mathematics, then you start programming, then you see Java, and you ask, well, why do we need software written in C for the backend systems or PHP or other languages? So you start to love the thing. And well, I started. And after some time, you struggle with some performance issues. So with bugs in the platform, and you ask, well, it's probably also an interesting piece of software, and you come to making a change there.
So I was blown away, after exploring Bellsoft. And by the way, I do want to learn more about Bellsoft and what you all do. But just kind of like blown away by when I was on your website here. So you go to the about section, you can start reading about Bellsoft, but it goes to the our team section. And some of the folks who work at Bellsoft or founded Bellsoft were working at Sun Microsystems back in the day. That's crazy. I mean, Sun Microsystems is gone now, but they did pioneer a lot of technologies. At one point, I think they were the biggest tech company in the world, right? And so, maybe you could tell us a little bit now about what is Bellsoft? Who is Bellsoft?
So it's the company founded by former Oracle engineers, and most of technical stuff is still former Oracle and Sun Microsystems engineers. So people who worked for a long time directly creating the Java platform.
Okay, and so
not just Java, by the way, also Linux and other solutions, but still mostly related to Java.
Yeah, I think we can go into some of your products in a bit. But I guess in general, starting off our section with what is Bellsoft, we can get to know it a little bit more over time. And we did just share the link there. By the way, any links that we do discuss throughout the episode, we'll make sure that they're also included in the description for those of you watching on demand. So, I mean, we know what is Bellsoft a little bit. Bellsoft, you seem to make software focused somewhat around Java, and you have your own Linux distribution. I'm curious, to kind of start talking about, Java on ARM. That's the title of the show here. So tell us, like, I mean, is Bellsoft the pioneers of Java on ARM? Like, was this a thing before Bellsoft came in? Because as I searched the web, I noticed that even as early as, like, I think as 2022, 2023, people were saying that there is no official support for Java on ARM. Is this something that Bellsoft is doing? Are you enabling this official support of Java on ARM?
Yes, we do. That's how the company actually started. So the very first product was Java for Raspberry Pi. So we were the first company that released Java 10, I think, for Raspberry Pis. Because at some point, Oracle stopped doing ARM builds, and it's all open JDK, so you can step in and provide binaries and services around that. So it started with smaller hardware. At that time, it was 2017. Not as powerful as nowadays. Years past.
So
at that time, ARM server hardware appeared at the stage.
Yeah, I remember
That's
Neoverse.
yeah, and that's the major focus right now. So in an embedded world, there's a new competition probably with RISC-V. At least that's my guess. But ARM is still dominating and growing like crazy. But we know all that growing amount of percentage of workloads running on ARM in big clouds or in on-prem installations. It's an interesting time, and we've seen multiple generations of different hardware from different vendors. Well,
Oh, no, yeah, no, it's amazing times. Like when you look at the infrastructure space, you're talking back in 2017. This was like I think the original announcements. I think it was when we first announced the Neoverse chipsets,
right.
right? And then Neoverse, then Amazon AWS comes out with the Graviton. Then most recently, you have the Cobalt 100 from Microsoft. Like there's a lot of interesting things happening right now. You have Ampere, right, who came into the scene where
Right,
you have
and
a
then
bunch
the
of other.
second generation.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff. And when you look at the infrastructure space as it is, like people are coming out with these success stories, migrating their workloads from x86 over to ARM and seeing cost performance improvements, lowering their costs, improving their performance. And so I'm guessing that you are contributing to this in terms of the software that people are able to run by even reducing those costs more, improving their performance more by using your products. That's really cool. It looks like Michael has a question though. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, no, you said you started out, Bellsoft started out with contributions to OpenJDK and performance optimizations there and ARM support there. But you also have Liberica JDK that you offer. What is the relationship between OpenJDK and Liberica?
That's one of our favorite questions, not really related to any platform, but to all the platforms. There's a project, OpenJDK. There's a source code, OpenJDK, but there's no such distribution called OpenJDK, which confuses people who are used to other languages, saying, "What's the canonical binary?" Well, you can take a binary by canonical, but that's not a canonical binary. There are different vendors in this space offering different services. So that's a distribution. It is a DCK verified distribution. It is a distribution with support, with long-term support releases and their schedule, which is different for any vendor that provides such offering. Oh. And this is probably the most complete Java experience, as we call it, because we have all the versions. And for ARM, we have versions since 8, of course. And Liberica is the default JDK if you build containers for your Spring applications using the default stack. So at some point, we met with VMware, and we have a partnership with VMware. So if you kind of have support for your stack with Tanzu or Spring, you also have that support for the JDK, which is actually done by us.
Okay. And Spring, for those who don't know, is like the big Java framework, right? Like everywhere I see Java, I see Spring.
Exactly. So it dominates, I don't know, it's 70-80% of the deployments that we see.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess this is a good time to talk about two things here, right? For me, it's the differences between Java on ARM and Java on x86. I want to like kind of like if I'm a developer, I'm used to using Java on x86, right? Like what are the differences that I'm going to experience as a developer? Like if I want to start, moving my workloads over to ARM, is it going to be as seamless as that? If all my stuff is in Java, or am I going to really experience this barrier to entry that of course Bellsoft might be able to help them with? So what does that look like? What does the developer journey look like in terms of migrating a workload and actually going from x86 to ARM?
Nowadays, it is so simple
So
because
simple. I like hearing that.
that's what we expected and wanted to get from the very beginning.
Yes.
Write once and run anywhere with Java.
Mhm.
You already
Of Java.
have Linux. You have server somewhere, so you don't care your SSH, or you have a local machine. Well, there are multiple aspects. Let's start with the platform itself. Yes, it is Java, and it has all that settings, all that internals, same compilers, same garbage collections, same garbage collectors. So it's the same platform as on x86. It also has comparable performance. That was one of the topics that we continued with after starting to release our binaries. Well, we start to uh, negotiate with vendors, and well, the performance wasn't on par with x86. What was the problem? So there was an initial kind of list of things to improve. When we jumped in, there was already a very good OpenJDK port, which we continue to work on now, AR64 port, and that's not the first port. So the previous port was kind of not so actively developed, developed by Oracle. Now we continue to work with the port started by Red Hat, and what we brought there is a bunch of optimizations for different intrinsics that were missing at that time. So when you use your platform and you expect, your hash code of your strings to work fast, that doesn't come for free. Someone implemented very specific optimizations for different CPUs you can run on, and the hardware world of ARM is much more fragmented than x86 because there are more vendors, more targets for optimization. So you have to check many things. So obviously, some optimizations were missing. They had to be implemented and ported. So as developer, you expect some performance, and you also expect some correctness. And that means, well, your CPU should work right. And sometimes all the hardware implementations had kind of bugs related to running some Java workloads, so you can step on that. Well, good news, we don't see it anymore. And the second hard part here is nowadays we run concurrent programs. We have multi-threading, we have everything running in parallel with a lot of CPUs, and one of the advantages of some big server class machines is to have a lot of cores. So a lot of parallelism is a real ongoing reality for many years now. And if you run concurrent programs in Java or in any other language, you face with that slightly different model of hardware behavior, which is fully specified and should be followed. But you can not face any kind of specific problems or errors, mistakes that you've made in your Java program on x86 hardware. But you can observe them on ARM, which, well, it will require additional testing and additional care and understanding of how your sequence of statements in your program relates to actual executions on your CPUs, or you need some experts to help, and that's also possible.
All right. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer. Yeah. I mean, this one leads me into another one, Mike, unless you want to go, unless you have a follow-up on it.
No, follow up with yours first.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, this leads me to the question that should developers experience something, using Liberica GDK, other Bellsoft products, they're migrating their workloads over to ARM, and, they encounter something that they want to make better. They want to help you with your product, or are any of the products from Bellsoft open? Can developers contribute? Can they give you feedback? Will you take any of their feedback in? How would a developer get more involved with Bellsoft and their products to improve their own journey and help other developers on their journey?
Well, it's all open.
All
That's
open.
one of great parts of my work. I work in open source.
There you go.
So
Nice.
it's OpenJDK, it's Linux, it's GraalVM. It's all open source, so it's easy to collaborate.
Awesome.
And it's not like if a developer wants to improve a thing in OpenJDK for ARM, it's not a problem to come to us and say, well, here's the implementation or a problem or proof of concept or demonstrator that I have. Please help me to show it to the OpenJDK community or help me to join the wider community, or let's discuss how we can operate. The same happens with companies. So not only developers, but also companies who want to use our expertise in that area for their purposes. So the advantage of open source is real.
Yes, the win-win-win of open source. And yeah, so for those of you who want to go, you could literally go search Bellsoft or Liberica GitHub. But it's they have their own GitHub. They have a bunch of repositories there. You can look for stuff that you might want to work with and or contribute to. I'm sure this is a great project to get involved with if you are into Java and of course possibly Java on ARM. Cool, Mike, you're up.
I want to talk about modern Java development because I was a Java developer back at the turn of the millennium, like 1999, 2000, 2001. And, my early career, I was a Java backend developer. And back then, the deployment style was you get a really, really big server with a lot of memory, and you run one WebSphere or something instance with one JVM to run your application. And that stays up for years. But that is not the paradigm anymore, is it? Like with cloud stuff, it's all about having multiple things running on very small containers, like these Ampere chips that have 128, 256 cores. You want to have a separate thing running on each of those. So now Java has to get small and fast, right? So what does Liberica or what does Bellsoft have to support this new modern way of deploying Java applications?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. You make me think about the things that I would like to forget as well. So I think I won't make you cry if I say that things that you have just described still exist. And
I told you they're meant to run for years.
I won't say the majority, but
forever.
A valuable portion of support cases that we have related to that big deployments with web service running on without any containers on bare metal on virtual machines. Let's forget about that. Yes, that's not how modern things work. And in modern development and deployment, you use containers, you use orchestration systems like Kubernetes, and we also use our machines for our local development. Like we can take any of Mac machines with newer Apple Silicon chips, or it can be Lenovo, or it even can be Windows on ARM, because JetBrains guys made a port for, so they support this case to work on such machines for development. And then, well, you create all these containers. Inside that, you have some layer related to operating system, which is actually a layer of libraries, and you have Java runtime, or you put a native image there. There are now all the popular options available, so you can build a native image for ARM and run it in a container specifically for that architecture. You can cross-build containers, which is a happy case. You run on Windows, and you actually can create containers for our architectures, including ARM. You can do the reverse. You run an ARM-based desktop or laptop, and you can create containers for x86, or you can create universal ones, which is even better.
Yes.
inside that, you put typically something that you try to minimize. So here we stepped in and we realized that, yes, Alpine is very popular. Let's make kind of Java official for Alpine Linux. Both ARM and x86. So one of the big contributions that we finally delivered to OpenJDK was to integrate Portola project with support for Muscle C library, which makes the common ground for all the vendors who release OpenJDK binaries for Alpine or other similar distributions to use the same source code from OpenJDK. And after that, we created our own distribution, which is called Alpaca.
And that leads into my next question. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you're going to talk about Alpaca, please talk about Alpaca. My question is literally, could you tell us more about Alpaca?
It's at some point we realized that Alpine is very popular and still a growing. There's still a growing popularity of this distribution for many deployments for small containers, and we release OpenJDK binaries for ARM and x86 for Alpine, and we see that there are some things that are not so handy for developers. ENS issues, missing TLC, support from a vendor, compatibility with Java stuff, like having a proper tested JDK, having native images supported. So we added all that and made our stack with a very small base operating system, slightly more effective, slightly more secure than the original alternative. That's how Alpaca appeared. And one of the things that we kind of accomplish right now is to bring Alpaca to ARM.
Very nice. Very nice. So, Michael, sorry, did you want to continue? I saw you. Maybe you wanted to follow
I just wanted to kind of add, expand on that a little bit, because you also have something called Liberica Lite, which it looks like is something that gets paired with Alpaca. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, that's the idea. Also originated in all that containerized deployments problems. So when we implemented a lot of intrinsics and other companies and individuals also implemented better backend for AR64 in OpenJDK. It kind of saturated at some point, but this point of great saturation happened way after JDK 11. So our kind of major job was delivered, has been delivered in JDK 11, but we continued our work, and there was a big bunch of contributions after JDK 11. So what you do with newer cool stuff and long-term supported version of a product, you start to backport all the things. So we have made a lot of backports to JDK 11 updates. So at some point, we saturated the backport trail because there were things that we had to roll back. There were things that turned to be too complicated for an update and long-term supported release. Awesome. But some of them we considered too important not to include in JDK 11. And that's how JDK Lite appeared. So first, we realized that, yes, JDK can work better with safe points, and it's not a big business to support the chain of backports. It can and it must return memory to operating system with the default collector, garbage collector. So we also took that patch. So it's a set of additional backports that from newer JDKs that we put into JDK 11
Okay.
as for light. And we also realized that we can make the overall assembly more efficient. To exclude parts that are optional, to make smaller size of the binary, smaller footprint of a JDK. So if this JDK light is combined with Alpaca, and we even made a so-called build pack for Spring Boot, so you can easily change only one configuration line in your project descriptor. Build a container with a standard command of your Maven or Gradle. And that container will take up to 30% less memory just by this tiny change.
That's a pretty big improvement right there.
Yeah, it's lighter. So this is how JDK Lite works.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Michael, well, we haven't gotten any questions from the community. So, Michael, unless you have any more questions, I think that we could, head into our shameless plug segment. Dmitry, if you have any other things that you wanted to address here before we head into that. Michael, I don't know. How are you feeling?
Actually, because we had talked previously about some of the continuing work that Bellsoft is doing for Java on ARM. So I wanted to ask you, like, what work do you know is happening now or coming soon to take advantage of maybe like new intrinsics in the newer ARM CPUs? So what are you excited about that you know is coming to Java?
Well, I'm always excited about the new hardware, and you mentioned some of the announcements, right? Cobalt, also Graviton 4. But we see that there's a big fleet of running machines, and new machines sometimes have their own peculiarities. And one of interesting cases that we work on is the cases of bigger applications, not just microservices, but bigger applications that have a huge code cache. So then Java program does its business logic, JIT compiler inside the hotspot JVM compiles the code and it places it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that if you have a huge code cache, your performance is worse if your really important and hot code is scattered over this huge code cache. It happens on some machines, including well-known and our machines that we have in public clouds. So there's now an ongoing work to provide the solution in OpenJDK and also nearby OpenJDK that will fix that problem.
Awesome. So we'll stay tuned for those updates and those announcements when they come out. Is there a JEP for that?
Yeah, we want to submit a JEP.
Cool.
All right, cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So, Dmitry, if you ever want to join us again, you're always more than welcome to come on back here. If you have some cool stuff happening around Bellsoft that you want to announce, we like it when people, announce things on this show. So more than welcome to join us anytime. Other than that, I think, we can, close it out soon here. Did you have anything that you'd like to plug anywhere that you would like, or a call to action for anyone watching this now or on demand later?
Well, try it.
Try it.
Get a board, yeah. So get a bigger machine and try it. Many people who have Macs still run Java, like x86 builds in the emulation mode. Stop doing that. Get a real thing.
Very nice. Yeah. So, I guess, okay, you made me think of another question here. So, when you go spin up an instance, right, on AWS, let's say, for example, they give you these operating systems that you can choose from that just make it easy. Choose Ubuntu, choose this operating system. I mean, like, is Alpaca eventually going to end up on their list of operating systems? Is it already there? Because I haven't checked it out, but like, I mean, are you making any effort to make these your operating system available in the cloud to these cloud providers and to developers more easily? You do.
So our release will include this opportunity as well.
Awesome. Okay, cool. There you go.
And the same happens for other interesting things like JDK Perf, for example.
Very nice.
I would imagine you can use those Alpaca container images and things like ECS and EKS when you're deploying using like Docker, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, Dmitry, I mean, I think that this wraps it up here. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and it's been great getting to know Bellsoft, of course, Liberica JDK, and Alpaquita. So, I guess without further ado, we'll close this out. Is that okay, Dmitry? Michael?
Absolutely, sir.
Michael, you have any last minute plugs?
I do, yes, actually, because on this topic, I first met folks from Bellsoft last year at DevNexus, which is the big Java conference that happens every year in Atlanta. And I'm going back again this year. So I'll be there. It's April 9th through the 11th. And I actually have a talk about Java on ARM, and I'm going to be pulling stuff that we've talked to Dmitry about, stuff we've talked to other Java developers about, and just the public information out there to show off all of the work that's gone into making Java applications more performant on ARM and being able to take advantage of these new ARM architectures. So that's my shameless plug. If you're going to be there, let me know. So let's meet up, if we can.
Awesome. All right. Well, then I'm going to close this out. I hope you two had a wonderful time, and thank you very much for everyone watching. We appreciate every minute you gave us. Thank you so much for spending it here with us on Innovation Coffee. Again, we go live every other Tuesday at 5 p.m. UTC, where we bring you a lot of really fun, interesting, and exciting developments happening in and around the ARM developer ecosystem, of course, with featured guests like Dmitry Chuyko here from Bellsoft, among many others. So if you enjoyed this episode, once again, don't forget to hit the like button, and we look forward to seeing you in a future episode. Our next episode, is it just a surprise right now?
I don't think we've got anyone confirmed yet. We've got some people that we're talking to, so nothing to announce today, but keep an eye out for that.
All right, keep an eye out for that. And don't forget to join our Discord server, which we're going to post right there. https://discord.gg/ARM software dev. If you want to continue the conversations that we've had here, Dmitry, we'd love to have you in the Discord server if you aren't there yet. Maybe some people come and show up with some questions about this episode later. That being said, also don't forget to visit Bellsoft. So you can go check out Bellsoft at bell-sw.com. Go learn more about Bellsoft, give their products a try. It's a fully open source products here, and you can also contribute as well. So if you're looking to be a contributor to something, you can go to github.com/bell-sw as well. Lots of repositories there, lots of cool stuff that they're working on. And I hope you all enjoyed this one. So we'll see you in a couple weeks here on Innovation Coffee. Have a wonderful week and take care. Bye, Michael. Bye, Dmitry. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, bye.